Hello, everybody. Welcome to the weekly reading report. I finished up just about everything that I planned on reading. I read a couple things that I didn't plan on reading. We have some very interesting things looking forward for us, so I'm excited to get into everything that we have to talk about today. This is the weekly reading report for 11/23/25. I finished 11/22/63 by Stevie K. I personally think I prefer Under the Dome a little better. This was very good. That's not to say that this was very good. The slice of life writing that takes up a good majority of this book is very well written, very Stephen King in his wheelhouse, essentially. All of that was very good. I was very happy with that. However, there are some pitfalls that time travel stories can often fall into. They're very difficult to actually pull off. This did fall into some of those pitfalls. I won't say exactly which for spoilers here. I do recommend you read it. I'm not just here to shit on it. It's a very good book. Stephen King's favorite time travel story is by, I believe, an author named Jack Finney. It's a book called Time and Again. It is a story where a man goes back in time for whatever reason, I don't know, and he falls in love while he is there, and he doesn't want to come back. This was definitely, in my opinion, Stephen King trying to write his version of that story. It's in a lot of ways also similar, some kind of ways, to the Star Trek episode, The City on the Edge of Forever, everyone's favorite Star Trek episode. Go watch it. With Stephen King books, there is a podcast called King Slingers. They go through and they did the entire Dark Tower series and then other slightly Dark Tower adjacent and other books. They go and every week they read a couple chapters of it, and then they go through and they analyze it heavily for the themes. I was able to go through and do that with 11/22/63. I think they definitely enjoyed it a little more than I did. They were saying that it was like among their favorite books of all time. I'm all good. I'm not gonna fight you. It's a great book. The next thing that I finished reading this week was Blood on the Tracks. I got through volume 15. There are 17 in total. I've got number 16 pinned up on the phone right now. I'll be reading that after I upload this video. I think this might be my new favorite manga, like at least in a long time. Top 5, easy. Oh geez, do I even like 5 manga? I don't know. I'm very picky and very... Manga's more miss than hit with me, really. Here in the later books, starting about, I think it was book 12, the outros have changed. They're a little bit different, and it gives you a little bit more insight into the creation, the mindset of the creation of this. I'm definitely relating to it in a lot of ways, and I'm recognizing things. There is a lot of psychosis in these books. Gaslighting, manipulation, psychosis, all of these codependency. It's really fascinating, and it's very impactful. It's very sad. It's very emotionally impactful, which is a thing that I definitely, if you can hit high on emotional impact, then you're gonna get pretty good with me. A lot of it is told through art, more so than the dialogue. Not much dialogue whatsoever, really. I started reading and I made damn good progress in the Blade itself. I started reading Black Company last year, and I loved it. It was like my first grimdark type thing. I don't know if it was my first grimdark. It was like the first grimdark series that I read. and I loved it. Everyone says Joe Abercrombie's the best at it. I own both of the trilogies. I don't own currently the three First Law World books. I am currently I'm 402 pages in of 500, so I should be finishing this up within the next 2 days or so. Day or two, give or take. It's going pretty quick. So far, what this is giving me is I'm loving all of the characters in it. I'm loving to hate some of them, but I'm mainly loving the characters that are in this. There's not a whole lot of story. There is story, but everything's kind of small scale right now. So far, the Blade itself isn't blowing me out of the water as a standalone book, but for part one of a three-part, I'm feeling that this is going to be excellent. Our philosophy group, every 2 weeks, we're moving out of Nietzsche now. Not moving out of, but we're finishing Thus Spoke Zarathustra. And we're talking to the people in the group and seeing what people want to put forward. The thing that I put forward for future discussion was Always Coming Home by Ursula K. Le Guin, a quote-unquote novel, but it's really a collection of short stories, of poems, of songs, of music, of family lineage. It's a huge, essentially, anthropological study, but it's done from the future in Northern California on a people called the Kesh. It is politically important and it is philosophically important, as this is essentially the backbone and the Bible, and the principal text of a lot of political anarchist movements. Political anarchism is something that you see weaving through just about all of Ursula K. Le Guin's texts. A lot of it. Hainish cycle is kind of steeped in it. This is where it is the most overt and the most explained and the most flushed out. I have the original version here in an old paperback, and then I've got the author's expanded edition from Library of America here. This has an additional, I believe it's 80 pages, 100 pages of additional essays and texts and just different things that Ursula K. Le Guin added to it to flush it out over the years. That's where I am spending a lot of my time, looking for the more overt philosophical and political texts to where I can kind of weave it back into our philosophy talk. There's a couple things that might happen with that. Either I might just blast through a lot of it and then come back and kind of fill in and re-go over things, or I may, on next week's video, I might be able to tell you, hey guys, I read 2 pages and this is where we're at. Now what we have coming up next reading, it is Thanksgiving week here in the States. I have some traveling to do. I might have a little bit less reading time. By tomorrow, I should be finishing Blood on the Tracks. Here in a day or two, I'm going to be finishing The Blade itself. We're going to continue to chip away at Always Coming Home. Once I finish up reading The Blade itself, I won't be moving into book 2 of that series. I'm going to pick up Book of the New Sun, book 4, the last one, Citadel of the Autarch by Wolfe. I am loving absolutely everything about Book of the New Sun. Technically, it's science fiction, but it's so wibbly wobbly all over the place that I call it fantasy half the time, not even thinking about it. It's so good. It's so confusing. It's so many layers. It's a puzzle box within itself. Circling back to our philosophy group, the next discussion that we have in 2 weeks is going to be on Kant's essay, An Answer to the Question, What is Enlightenment? From 1784. I'll be reading that this week. I'm not quite sure how long it is. It could be anywhere from 5 pages to 100 pages for all I have no idea. I have a short description here that I was able to pull up. I believe I pulled it up from Goodreads. It was for the essay that we're reading, but I think it's kind of more an overview. Um, Immanuel Kant was one of the most influential philosophers in the whole of Europe, who changed Western thought with his examinations of reason and the nature of reality. In these writings, he investigates human progress, civilization, morality, and why, to be truly enlightened, we must all have the freedom and courage to use our own intellect. It's always such a good discussion. There's like 8 or 10 of us that sit around and just chit chat in the top of a old bookstore for a couple hours every 2 weeks about this. So I'm very excited to see the discussions and the thought and just where this leads us, because it always leads us somewhere crazy that we never thought we would. Next up, we have an update on our Read What You Own challenge that I'm taking part in. Now, this is a bit of an interesting update because I read 15 of those mangas. However, I got them from the library, so I can't actually count them because I don't own them. Aside from those mangas, I read 566 pages of my own owned books that I can add to our total. Our running total is 2,704 pages of our goal of 12,500 pages, which leaves me sitting, I am at 21% of the goal so far. We're just about on goal for 1% a day. 100 days, at this pace, we're going to be finishing up right around the beginning of February before I can buy more books for myself outside of like the books that I have to buy for my philosophy group. Coming up on the channel this week, we have the December TBR video. You can look forward to some absolute massive chunker books, essentially. I think I'm going into fantasy mode because I have a bunch and a bunch and a bunch of fucking fat fantasy books that I need to read before I can justify the pretty and surreal and existential literary novels that are kind of more what I'm leaning into buying nowadays. So that's everything that we have for this weekly reading report. Go ahead and let me know what you guys are reading down in the comments. Cheers.